This is Informer News, your voice of the people. Timeline is Sunday the 3rd of January 2016. Welcome along, my friends, to another edition of the Informer News monthly special report. Coming up in this month's broadcast, surviving Nibiru, safe locations. Are you in a safe location or not? Plus, scientists discover second sun approaching Earth at a rapid pace. Also, has the Earth's axis shifted as some claim? Plus claims Donetsk, Ukraine was struck by a nuclear ballistic missile attack. Also, Planet X Nibiru's visibility is increasing every day. We are now dealing with multiple objects and super rich buying up luxury doomsday bunkers. Okay, into this month's Informer News special report. This first report originates from zetatalk.com, titled the Zeta Talk Newsletter, issue 471, and this was posted on Sunday, October the 11th, 2015. I am often asked by those new to the Zeta Talk material, particularly those who have been impressed by the Zeta Talk accuracy, whether their location will be safe during the forthcoming pole shift and Earth changes. In that there are 7 billion people on Earth, it is scarcely possible for me to step through the issue for each fanatic person. The Zeta Talk website is vast and often overwhelming. So how does one go about making this determination? In 2010, the Zetas laid out what they determined the 7 steps to sorting this out. This is the body of Zeta Talk on the Zeta Talk website, but also featured front and center on the poleshift.ning.com website. Everyone is encouraged to take this test as it only takes a minute. Zeta Talk Guidance 9/11/2010 Step 1 is to research your location in the safe location information on the Zeta Talk website. In this you should examine not only your country, your state or province or your city, but also any nearby. Your specific town may not be covered, but the whole river valley may be predicted to flood, and to flood permanently. This would be a clue that your specific town will be likewise affected. We cannot and have not addressed every spot on Earth due to time and energy constraints, as we expect you to have a brain and take this approach. Step 2 is to research your location from the standpoint of the climate that will exist after the pole shift. This is quickly ascertained by looking at the new geology map. This is a free map which can be cut out and taped together and will give a general idea of the latitude to expect. If your chosen location is where one of the new poles will be, this is a clue that you need to rethink or plan a migration route. Step 3 is to research your elevation above sea level. A handy and free tool is Google Earth, which can be downloaded into a PC and will show the exact elevation of any spot the cursor passes over. Google Map is a modified version that allows a color-coded map based on elevation. Are advised to be 100 miles from coastline and 200 feet above sea level to avoid the coastal tidal wave during the pole shift should be applied. You can determine your current elevation and whether your location will be 675 feet above sea level, where the water will rise within 2 years after the pole shift. A rough guide in this matter is the map Nancy created. Step 4 is to determine if you are in one of those regions which will rise or fall. India and Western Australia will be below the waves as of the time of the pole shift and being pushed down before the pole shift. Japan gains 150 feet, New Zealand gains 500 feet, and Eastern Australia benefits also. Spain loses 50 feet, Western UK loses 150 feet, New England gains 450 feet due to the seaway rip, Florida loses 150 feet, and Vancouver Island gains 100 feet. Step 5 is to research the effect of swollen rivers, which will likely be in a backwash during the pole shift. We have stated that all rivers will be over their banks, so the worst possible scenario should be assumed. What will happen if the river cannot drain? Despite having a good sea level elevation, any land that does not have an advantage of being at least 200 feet in elevation over a major river bottom in the vicinity is likely to be flooded. A backwash from the main river in your vicinity should be assumed so that creeks will not drain. For instance, water on the move tears and bites and scours and will undercut the soil under buildings, so they will tilt and tumble. Being on solid rock that will not melt in this scenario is advised. Tidal bore along cliffs facing the ocean can likewise have water climbing up or funneled up by ravines, which will direct water all the way to Guadalajara from the Pacific. For example, think this through for your location and be on the safe side. Step 6 is to examine your volcanic or geographic risk due to mountain building. We have advised a 100-mile radius from all volcanoes that have been active within the last 10,000 years, and that Yellowstone will not become a supervolcano. You can determine if the new westerly winds will blow volcanic ash in your direction. Consider that what was formerly north will be west or east. Firestorms, though extremely rare, almost always occur near erupting volcanoes during the hour of the pole shift. We have advised that if in areas subject to mountain building, that old rock not shattered is a good guide to what will survive, and newly fractured rock is a clue that more of the same might be expected. Older mountains as the Alps and Appalachians are considered safe, where the Sierras and Andes are building. Step 7 is to ascertain if you need a migration route. It is possible to survive the pole shift by avoiding tidal waves and staying outside of structures that will crush you, but to be in a position to be flooded within 2 years after the pole shift. Siberia is a case in point. Here the land is so low in elevation that vast swathes of land will be flooded, and survivors must plan to migrate on foot or via boats. Survivors near the new North Pole off the bulge of Brazil might consider migrating towards the Andes and their familiar tropical warmth. Such migration and your target location can be plotted. Migration routes can be expected to be crowded, so should be avoided as a location for survival camps in general. Let's look at 6 locations that have a variety of challenges. As example, first, Nairobi, Kenya. Kenya will have a temperate climate similar to their climate today, and due to Africa being high land, will not suffer from flooding in the aftertime. Sloshing water will occur along coastlines, but no significant backwashing river issues will occur as the rivers drain inland. The African Rift Valley does have volcanoes. Zeta advises to stay 100 miles away and to not be downwind. Note that new prevailing westerlies will blow volcanic ash towards the Red Sea, so be to what is now the east or west of the volcanoes, in that Africa is considered one of the target locations, underpopulated and above ground after the sea level rise. Migration out of Africa should not be an issue, and influx of migrants will be the problem. In the safe location info, the Zetas state that Kenya's greatest worry is marauding from Somalia warlords. Zeta Talk advice 2001. Due to the compression of the Pacific during the forthcoming pole shift, India is forced under the Himalayan highlands with a violent thrust of the Indo-Australian plate under the Himalayas. Those in India will find after the first strong jolts that water is rapidly rising, coming in from the coast for those who live there, and coming from whatever area might be considered the lowland for those inland. Giant waves will not occur, just a rapid rise in the water, which will force man and animal alike to tread water for as long as possible, then drown. Those in boats or clinging to floating objects will find the water swirling, whirlpools developing suddenly, so boats will capsize and sink. The flood tide will close in on all sides of India and meet in the middle, creating crashing waves in the centre and riptides as the water pulls back again. Drowning will be swift and is fortunately painless. Those who would survive the coming cataclysm are advised to leave the lowlands, which in the case of India as well as Western Australia means leaving the country. The best advice is to migrate now. Of course, advice which many families living hand to mouth simply cannot take. But when it is clear that the last weeks are upon you, do not linger, as it is likely already too late. We have mentioned that migration, legal or illegal, to Africa will be a strong press. Boats will be diverted to human cargo in great numbers. The third example is Canada. Around Hudson Bay and over to the Northwest Territories province, in the safe location page, the Zeta state that much of Canada will be inundated in the after time. Canada will be warmer, very temperate, with the new equator running through the Arctic, where not permanently flooded survivor camps will do well. Zeta Talk Advice 2001. The worry Canadians should be concerned about is one that will sneak up on them. In the days leading into the pole shift and in the 2 years following, much of Canada has a low altitude, and where land lies lower than 650 to 700 feet, this will be inundated within 2 years due to the melting ice caps of the old poles. Now under the equatorial sun, much of Canada is low-lying land, as is much of Russia. Grasslands do well in the gloomy aftertime weather that lasts for at least 2 decades, and with a milder climate, these citizens may find becoming herdsmen will alleviate the hunger from lack of imported foodstuffs and poor grain crops. Native grasses should be encouraged. The rising seas will sneak up on the Canadians unaware of what is happening, who may head in the wrong direction. Many lakes in Canada will swell due to the post-pole shift rains, so be prepared to take to boats or shift to higher grounds. Houseboats are very much advised. The Zeta suggests for the Northwest Territory, eat the predator bears before they eat you. To view the full transcript, go to my website, endtimes23.com, where I've posted the link. There's a live link to my website near the end of this video. This following report originates from greenlives.net, titled "Scientists Discovered Second Sun Approaching Earth at a Rapid Pace," and this was posted on the 21st of October 2015. A second sun continues to baffle scientists as Astronomy Observatory's webcams, along with NASA's own satellite photos, are recording this epic, never-before-seen occurrence. Several people have also captured this beautiful double sun in the sky with their own cameras, submitting them to media outlets across the country. Until now, NASA has denied in public statements that this second sun exists. Now they are saying it does exist, but poses no threat. If so, why is NASA warning their own staff to make preparations for a possible collision? The Pacific Northwest Regional Observatory employee leaked this bone-chilling statement. This second sun, which they are calling GTY 421, is approaching Earth at a rapid speed of 345,000 miles per hour. This is an increase compared to last week's speed, calculated at 185,000 miles per hour. NASA's warned its employees in a confidential in-house memo to prepare for the worst. They want to keep this information out of the hands of the public because they fear mass chaos if this information was leaked. I am coming forward with this information because I think the world has a right to know. The voice of the people has has over the past month shown outstanding images of the second sun, which indicates that this coming Nibiru event is drawing nearer by the day. I urge you all to prepare for this coming event for your family's sake. Ignore the timelines for this coming Nibiru event, as disinfo trolls are posting false ones to divert from the real one, the voice of the people. This next report originates from planetexnews.com, titled Earth's Axis Has Changed, and this was posted on June the 22nd, 2015. It is time again to check the position of the Sun so we can see if there has been any additional changes since last year. Check the Sun tomorrow at sunrise when the Sun is in contact with the horizon, and check again at sunset when the Sun is in contact with the horizon. This will not work in mountainous terrain. You need a relatively flat horizon, but even if you only have flat land on one side, we will be happy to take it. Use the numbers on a clock face to gauge the angle. Consider you are at the center of the clock. North is 12, east is 3, west is 9, south is 6. Face due north and picture yourself standing on a clock face, and choose where on the clock the Sun is rising and setting. When the Sun is in contact with the horizon, not in the air above ground, if you are in the northern hemisphere, north of Mexico, in the US or Europe or Russia, then you should be able to see that the Sun is rising and setting to the north instead of south, where it should have been. The Sun should never be north of the Tropic of Cancer. It is at its farthest most point on June the 21st, the summer solstice. But we are seeing the Sun to the north, where it should not be. Do not measure the angles while the Sun is in the sky, because it travels in an arc. Only check the angle when the Sun is in contact with the horizon at sunrise and again at sunset. If you are in the mid-US or mid-Europe, you will probably see the Sun setting at an angle towards the north, somewhere between 10 and 11 on a clock face. You will likely see it rising somewhere between 1 and 2 on a clock face. Pick a landmark or tree, etc. You can compare it next year to see if it has changed. This next report claims a nuclear ballistic missile attack on Donetsk, Ukraine, in February of 2015, and it was reported on leromoret.info, titled Nuclear Attack on Donetsk by Lauren Moret, and this was posted on March 2015. Nuclear ballistic missile attack on Donetsk on Sunday, February the 8th, 2015 at 10:50 p.m. local time. An unprecedented nuclear attack by Ukrainian government troops occurred in the city of Donetsk. The Tochka U SS-21 Scarab Soviet-era short-range ballistic missile armed with an AA-60 nuclear warhead with a selectable yield of 10-100 KT was one of 50 Tochka U missiles left in the Ukrainian military arsenal after the collapse of the Soviet Union. For comparison, the Hiroshima bomb had a yield of 20 KT. The first nuclear bomb to be dropped on a human population in Japan in 1945. Source J. Phillips. Did a tactical nuke just go off in Ukraine? Big explosion rocks Donetsk. Epoch Times, February 8th, 2015. Tochka U ballistic missile attack on city of Donetsk. The Tochka U ballistic missile was armed with a nuclear warhead that detonated in a partially wooded industrial area 1,000 meters, 0.6 miles from the Donetsk state factory of chemical products in the Donetsk district of Kubysvesky. The nuclear blast left a crater 9.1 meters, 30 deep and 50 meters 164 wide. Trees surrounding the crater were stripped of leaves and snapped off like matchsticks from the powerful blast. The high energy shock wave shattered windows all over Donetsk and was felt 30 kilometers 18.6 miles away. Powerful nuclear missile blast in largest city in Donbass, city of Donetsk. Map with location of Tochka U short-range ballistic missile blast near a chemical plant in Kupovetsky district west of Donetsk. The nuclear blast occurred near midnight on February 8, 2015 in a wooded area. The explosion and shockwave broke glass windows and shook buildings all over Donetsk. Source: The War in Novorossiya, online 2nd 8, 2015. 2 Donetsky Tochka U warheads. Same rocket, different package. The Tochka U short-range Soviet-era missile can be armed with a conventional warhead, nuclear warhead, or biological warhead. The width of the nuclear crater is about 5 times wider than for a conventional warhead, and depth of the crater from a nuclear warhead is about twice as deep. To view the full transcript, go to my website ntimes23.com, where I've posted the link. There's a live link to my website near the end of this video. This following report originates from beforeitsnews.com, titled Planet X Nibiru's visibility is increasing every day. Now we're dealing with multiple objects. And this was posted on February the 3rd, 2015 by J. Wills 7497. I've stated before that Nibiru is a comet swarm, not a planet. Mathematical projections from ice cores indicates that it will pass through the inner solar system by the end of 2017. ET alien sources suggest it will threaten Earth maybe a few months thereafter. Some of these meteorites have already struck September to November 2014. The meteors appear to be devoid of volatiles and may become noticeable only if they are close enough to be heated by the sun's heliosphere. This threat, coming during 2017, has been hidden from us in plain sight. We're fighting for truth against the tyranny of this monumental Planet X Nibiru cover-up. Should even a modest impact or massive atmospheric explosions occur, civilization could collapse. There would be global weather changes. Earth could even return to Ice Age conditions, and mass starvation would follow. Tsunamis, floods, gigantic mudslides, and meteorite falls igniting fires over wide areas could occur. Continents could slightly move, and magnetic poles could change and even realign. Devastating evidence of the lie we have been sold by our elites to pull the wool from over our eyes and hide us from the truth. World governments may even be aware of this impact threat. International UN-like and world actions, usually activities in the financial sector, energy sector and military martial law sector, might be expected prior to this threat. Massive population relocations to hospitable climates could be required, provoking major wars for survival. Russia, a country that will be most affected, could be preparing but not alarming its citizens through its news media by reporting these possibilities, but including the inaccurate Nibiru is a planet concept, to lessening potentially alarming scientific verification of this threat. Events are changing now at a breathtaking speed. The Planet X Nibiru system is now here, and there's no hiding it anymore. The dark star and its planets are closer than you may think. Weird weather, sharp increase in volcanic activity, and a sharp rise in large earthquakes should give us a clue. There is a great unrest of the population on this planet, and banking systems are failing at an alarming rate. Many people in major banking systems are committing suicide at an alarming rate. Crops are failing, animals, aquatic life and birds are dying off at an alarming rate. No problem, just continue to ignore the signs all around you. Too much water here and there, and no water here and there. Maybe you'll just go back to sleep and everything bad will just go away. Do you have a survival plan? Be aware and be prepared. Fear is not an option. Be safe, everyone. This final report originates from offgridsurvival.com, titled World's Wealthiest Buying Up Luxury Doomsday Bunkers and High-Tech Panic Rooms, posted by Robert Richardson. Over the last couple of years, the world's wealthiest have been rushing to buy doomsday bunkers, panic rooms, and futuristic state-of-the-art security systems. Do they know something we don't? What exactly are they preparing for? The world's wealthiest have grown increasingly interested in survival bunkers, and over the past few years have poured mega amounts of money into retrofitting their homes with over-the-top home security systems. In fact, these people are taking preparedness to a whole new level. From secret passageways built into their homes to multi-million-dollar underground bunkers, wealthy people from around the world are transforming their homes into luxurious fortresses built to withstand every kind of disaster or attacker. They are shelling out millions of dollars to protect themselves from disasters and the public. Okay, my friends, you're all invited to join this channel by subscribing to End Times 23, which is a totally free subscription service. You're also invited to add me as a friend on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and join my Google Plus timeline. All this month's news links can be found on my website, endtimes23.com. There's a live link near the end of this video. Well, that's your lot for this month's Informer News special report. So until next month at the same time, this is your Informer signing off. Friends, I'll see you on the flip side. This is Informer News, your voice of the people. Timeline is Sunday the 3rd of January 2016. Welcome along, my friends, to another courage to take this test, as it only takes a minute. Zeta Talk Guidance 9/11/2010 Step 1 is to research your location in the safe location information on the Zeta Talk website. In this, you should examine not only your country, your state or province or your city, but also any nearby. Your specific town may not be covered, but the whole river valley may be predicted to flood, and to flood permanently. This would be a clue that your specific town will be likewise affected. We cannot and have not another edition of the Informer News monthly special reports. Coming up in this month's broadcast: surviving Nibiru, safe locations. Are you in a safe location or not? Plus, scientists discover second sun approaching Earth at a rapid pace. Also, has the Earth's axis shifted, as some claim? Plus, claims Donetsk, Ukraine was struck by a nuclear ballistic missile attack. Also, Planet X Nibiru's visibility is increasing every day. We are now dealing with multiple objects, and super rich buying up luxury doomsday bunkers. Okay, into this month's Informer News special report. This first report originates from zetatalk.com, titled the Zeta Talk Newsletter, issue 471, and this was posted on Sunday, October the 11th, 2015. I am often asked by those new to the Zeta Talk material, particularly those who have been impressed by the Zeta Talk accuracy, whether their location will be safe during the forthcoming pole shift and Earth changes. In that there are 7 billion people on Earth, it is scarcely possible for me to step through the issue for each fanatic person. The Zeta Talk website is vast and often overwhelming. So how does one go about making this determination? In 2010, the Zetas laid out what they determined the 7 steps to sorting this out. This is the body of Zeta Talk on the Zeta Talk website, but also featured front and center on the poleshift.ning.com website. Everyone is